I'm balancing my phone. Let's hope it doesn't fall over while I'm taking this video. I have not taken a video in probably a year or more. Probably over a year. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys have been doing well. Oh my goodness, all my sisters that have been pregnant and having babies, I want you to update me and how everything's been going. I've been praying for all of you guys that comment and ask your advice. You guys are so inspiring, honestly. Like when I started doing these videos, most of them were just about like birth and health and stuff, right? And I just wanted to share my experience because hearing that's how I got into the knowledge of, you know, God's goodness and birth and what birth can be like, was hearing other people's testimonies and stories. So once I started going through and experiencing everything, I just wanted to share with the world what I experienced, in hopes that someone would be inspired. And you guys, you guys have been inspired, and it makes my heart so happy. So yeah, it's been a very long time since I've posted a video. God's been doing some crazy stuff in our lives. I'll be posting videos about that at some point. We moved, so that was a huge ordeal, and it all happened right after having my baby. So the last video I made was probably talking about, I don't know, me being pregnant, or I was probably pregnant at the time and talking about my birth coming up. And so, look at my hair, oh my goodness gracious, and I'm an absolute wreck. Like, my videos are probably not going to be as fancy as they used to be because I don't have the same amount of time to edit videos and stuff. I just want to start putting content out there for you guys again, just to share and bring some more inspiration. If it inspires one person, then that just makes my heart so full. So when I get the chance and the opportunity, I will take a video, and if there's something you guys want me to post about or questions you have, then I'll find the time and I'll post it for you guys. So yeah, God's been so good. I'll post a video about our move because he moved us, and that was like mind-blowing, miraculous how that all happened. And then I had my fourth baby, and so obviously super busy with a newborn. Went through a lot of health problems actually, but that was super miraculous as well. So I'm sure my husband and I will post videos on that too. And so it's just been a chaotic time. I haven't had time to do much at all. So in this video, I wanted to tell you guys about my experience with my fourth birth. If anybody is wondering how it's been going, because you guys know about my other births, and you know, the supernatural aspects to them, how amazing they were. So for my fourth delivery, it was beautiful. It was, you know, to me, all birth is supernatural and miraculous. They're all beautiful. They're all amazing, even if we're going through hardships or going through pain or we go through complications. I love seeing the way that God comes through still in the end. So my birth to me was still phenomenal. I had but I wanted to talk about the birth because there was something still super significant that I learned through it that I think everybody needs to hear. It's really important. It was very simple, straightforward birth, like my other ones for the most part. I had my baby at home, midwives, same way as usual. But my labor was funny, and it was very different than my other labors. So I did have that. My first labor was very fast, hour and a half, pain-free. My second labor was the really hard 24-hour pain, misery of labor, but still beautiful birth, no complications. My third one was the most miraculous, pain-free, easy, plop them out in no time, like nothing. And then this fourth one, the labor was very interesting. This fourth one, I had, I went into labor, and it was uncomfortable. It was kind of like what I would expect from like a normal labor, and it lasted an hour and a half. and I was so exhausted. I was just so tired, and it was in the morning time, and so I just decided, like, me and my midwives decided, I'm gonna rest, because if labor keeps going, I'll just abnormally exhausted. I was also probably not in the healthiest state that I could have been. A lot about what I talk about in my videos, you guys know about, is health, and health as well, like nutrition and raw veganism and stuff. So I was vegan. I was still vegan. I am still vegan. I hope to always stay vegan. But I was not eating optimally. Whereas with my third pregnancy, as you guys know, I was raw vegan through the whole pregnancy. And it just transformed me. Like, it was the healthiest I've ever been in my life. And so, yeah, I was not the healthiest that I could have been for this last birth. I'm still not eating as healthy as I would like to be. I would like to get into better shape. And like I said, I went through some health problems, right? It was more, actually, it was all nutrition based. Like, it was about, like, that's the reason why I went through so many, like, the health problems that I did. That's for another video. So I wasn't in the healthiest state that I could have been. I was exhausted when labor started. Decided to take a nap. And as we know, sometimes what happens is labor will slow down or can stop completely. And this has to do with a number of factors. My baby also wasn't in the most optimal position. He was good, but it wasn't perfect, which is okay. But once I napped and took that break and rested, labor stopped completely. And I had not had that happen before. I can't remember. With the rough birth that I had with my second child, I did rest and I did nap and it slowed down. But I never had this happen where it stopped completely. I mean, I've seen other births and have friends and attended births and stuff where that has happened before, but not for me. So it stopped completely after an hour and a half of laboring when I rested and woke up, and it stopped for the entire day. So all day long I had nothing. Like, occasionally I would have this, like, maybe, like, a contraction, like, every half hour, maybe every hour or so, just to remind me of how much it sucks. So, I mean, that was my perspective. And this is what I want to talk to you about, you guys. So you can adjust me. Killing me. Okay. My perspective was bad. It was bad. It was discouraging. I was afraid. I was depressed. And so when I went through that little bit of labor and then started experiencing, a couple contractions here and there for the entire day, I was like, oh my goodness, contractions are uncomfortable. I don't want to feel this. When is labor going to start? Like, how long am I going to go through this? Is it going to last forever? So much fear, so much discouragement. Discouragement was, like, the biggest thing. And I went all day like that, just moping. I was just so bummed, and just waiting for things to start again. And I did try everything I could, like, casually. I wasn't actively trying to, like, let's get labor going. Like, I did want to just let it unfold by itself without preventing it, without being, super lazy and going back to sleep. So I let it unfold, and what happened was, the day progressed, and went to sleep that night, so still no labor all night. I got a decent sleep from what I can remember, and then come early morning that next day, that's when labor started again, and it started at the same time. And it started the same time. And then what happened? So it started the same time, and then that's when labor really started. Like, that's when I was gonna have the baby. So labor really kicked in, and to me, it was like the average labor, like the discomfort. But it wasn't horrible. It was good. Like, it was a good labor. I was okay. I got through it comfortably, and it was very quick. Like my other ones, it was an hour and a half. And my midwife almost didn't make it again. Like the last time, I actually, like, my water broke on the toilet, and I was like, he's gonna come. I was like, can you please just get here? And I lay down, and I knew he was going to show up, and I purposely tried not to move and clench and just not let him out, because I didn't want to give birth by myself with my husband there, which is like kind of silly, because I have no problem. I would have no problem being around another woman and delivering her baby. I mean, I've been super close with other women in hospitals and stuff, and their nurse and doctors nowhere around, and I'm screaming for them. And I would have no problem delivering somebody else's baby. But for some odd reason, when it comes to me delivering my own children, my husband's like, I'll do it. I'm like, I just don't want that to happen. For obvious reasons, like, just it's safer to have a professional around to do it. I know women who have done it themselves, no problem. I believe birth is a natural process, as natural as taking a poop. And I believe we can handle it ourselves. But when I am in the middle of birthing and in labor, my complete focus is just like, what's going on with me right now? Like, I have no desire to see my baby crowning. I have like none of that. To each their own. I think that's awesome if you do, but for some reason, like, I will plan to do it before delivering. I would want to, but when I'm in the middle of labor, I have no desire but to just focus on what's going on with me. So, midwife almost didn't show up. Got there like right as I'm pushing him out, which worked out really well. I was in a new position this time, which was fantastic, and so I must have taken a video. Yes, I did. I must have taken a video after I had him talking about like new tools and stuff that help, because in that video, I can't remember what the video was called, but it was talking about things that can help assist you in labor. This time around, I used a peanut ball, which is like a birthing ball. Well, yeah, like a birthing ball, but it's peanut shaped. And this is the first time I've ever used one. It's the first time I've ever seen one. Never had a client ever use one. And it was fantastic. They're fantastic. They're so much better than exercise balls and birthing balls. I think that's my opinion. So check them out more if you don't know what those are. They're really cool. So I used it to push my baby out. It was I was on my side. I pushed my baby out on my side while I was lying down on my side. It was the most comfortable position that I have been in for some odd reason for all my other labors. I mentioned this before in another video. I was always on my back. That was the most comfortable for me with my two like supernatural births that I had, and with the one posterior really hard birth that I had. I was on my back, and that was just what was comfortable for me. This time around, I went on my back for 2 seconds. It was like, not happening. Went back to my side and birthed him that way, and it was fantastic. And so it was intense. It was very intense, but it was a beautiful birth. And so back to the real reason what I wanted to talk about with this birth is the labor and the delivery was fantastic. No problem. He was actually the smallest baby that I had at 7'15", I think. I can't remember. Lose track of all the weights. But he was the smallest baby that I had. My biggest baby was 9'2". And my 9'2" baby was the really pain-free, supernatural, easy one, was my 9'2" baby. I had no tearing, nothing. It was a beautiful labor and birth. It was fantastic. And I never once complained and was upset about the fact that it wasn't completely pain-free. This time around, that wasn't really my focus. I was just super happy to have had such a beautiful labor and birth, and I really felt like the Lord was there with me through the whole labor. I felt more aware, spiritually and emotionally. I felt more aware, and so it was a great birthing experience. Now, as for the labor part and where labor was stalled, and I went and it died down for that entire day, and then I got to rest that whole night, which was awesome. And the discouragement and the fear that I felt, that's my learning. That's what I learned. This is my learning lesson. This is my lesson for you. It didn't make any sense, but you know what I'm talking about. What I learned from that experience was after I had so much regret. And I don't really regret things if I've learned from them and grown from them, because there's such good learning experiences and can be shared with others to help them grow and learn as well. Is that biblical? It's totally biblical. And what I learned was what I regretted was I should have spent that entire day in prayer, in joy and excitement for this baby, in anticipation, without fear and without worry, knowing that God was still going to be there and take care of things. The second something happened that I wasn't familiar with, for myself at least, labor stopping, I wasn't familiar with that, I didn't know what was going to come, brought so much worry and anxiety. I was like, where's God? Like, why isn't my labor still going? Why did it stop all of a sudden? Why does it feel uncomfortable? Like, when is it going to start? Is it going to go on forever? I'm going to have to go to the hospital. It's like all this, you think of a million different things. And this can, I'm sure anybody could relate to this in regards to thinking about pregnancy and birth in general, especially with first babies, right? We go through all these thoughts of the unknown, all these fears, all these worries. And 99% of the time, they turn out fantastic. 99% of the time, they're beautiful, especially if you trust in the Lord and you know that He's got you. So I spent that entire day just moping, and I regret that. I wish that I had spent it. Like, my labor and birth ended up turning out beautiful. Even though I didn't spend it in prayer, I didn't spend it, feeling good and excited and in faith and stuff. It still turned out amazing because God was there. He saw exactly what was going to happen, and He knew it was going to be fine. But I tormented myself. It was all me. It was all the fears. It was the enemy trying to, get me to be afraid and submit to fear and discouragement, when it could have been such a beautiful time of rest. That whole day could have been a beautiful time of rest, just to reflect, just to get excited for my baby, for this life that's going to come into this world. And yeah, you could put that on anything in life, how much we focus on the little things or what we're going through, but we forget the bigger picture. And it's super hard to do when you're in the middle of something that's affecting you so much. Like when we're going through such hard times in life, that are so dark and sometimes so deep and so miserable, and you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like you see the little spark, or you might not see anything at all. It might just be pitch black because you don't know what's coming. You don't know what God has planned. And we torment ourselves. We focus so much on what we're going through, not having hope and expecting the goodness that God's going to birth through it. The life that God is going to birth at the end of whatever misery, it might be misery, whatever grief, whatever darkness that you're going through. We can't see that light. We can't see that little spark. The only thing that we have is hope. It's the only thing that we have is hope and the expectation that God is going to do something fantastic, which is so exciting. But like I said, it's so hard when you're in the middle of it to just remember that I'm sure something good is coming, that God is going to birth something out of this. And we know, like, we can see that baby in our womb. We know that baby's there. We know that baby's coming. We can see everything in our future, if we focus on it, that life of that child coming into our arms, and that once all this small window of time, this small window of discomfort and worry and fear and dread, once that's over, we're not going to think about it anymore. In light of what God just gave you, none of that's even going to matter. What you do have from it now is you have a teaching tool, and you have an example of something that other people can relate to and learn from. That's beautiful. That is fantastic. Don't you just want to be that kind of person that rejoices in the middle of suffering? Like, how often does Paul talk about that in the Word? God, please make me like that. And so that's what I took away from that birth. And after that birth, man, the experiences that I've actually, I think this is the first time I'm really reflecting on this. The experiences that I've had, that God has taught me that lesson again, especially with this house move, that is one heck of a story. And I'm going to share that with my husband, and I'll share that with you guys too, sometime soon. But going through grief and going through hardship and misery and just seeing the birth that comes out of it. That was my message for today, wasn't it? That's what we got out of that. That's cool. Okay. I'm talking to myself. I love it. But yeah, so if you find yourself going through a moment in life like that in general, or with birth or anxiety or fear, not knowing what's going to come, take that opportunity to rest and take your eyes off yourself and what you're going through and put it back on the Lord, on what he's bringing and his goodness and what's coming. Because life is never going to be perfect. It's never going to be so clean, so beautiful, so easy, so pain-free. Even though I believe 100% that God's desire for us in regards to birth is freedom, is a pain-free, beautiful, easy delivery. I believe that 100%. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen all the time. And there's so many other factors that come into play too. So many other factors that are physical, that are emotional, that are spiritual, that can cause us to be derailed in certain ways. And we ask the Lord just to teach us through it and to learn how we can get back on track. Or teach us why was it uncomfortable in this way, in this position, or what could I have done better during my pregnancy, or could I have eaten healthier? Could I have taken better care of myself? Could I have flipped my baby into a better position? Could I have focused on that? But the biggest thing is to keep our mind and our heart and our spirit focused on the Lord and his goodness, and to have joy, to recenter our spirits, our hearts. That's the most important part, and that's what I wish I had done through that moment, through that whole day of waiting, the wilderness period. Goodness gracious, I could get on a whole other topic from here. I'm not going to. I hope someone got something out of that. Thank you guys for your comments and for your encouragement. Oh my goodness, honestly, like every time I get a little ding on that little thing to like read your comments and stuff, that is, it makes my day. It makes me so happy. That's the whole point and why I post these videos, is just for someone, just for that one person that needs to hear it. So God bless you guys. I'm sure some more videos will come. They might not be as fancy and they might not be as often, but I'll post videos whenever I can. Love you guys. Peace. God bless.